together today on this live because I actually wanted to ask him exactly what he did, why he started this crazy thing and left his job and dedicated his 18 hours every day into this into creating this amazing platform called SCM Dojo. So I've got tons of questions for you, Mudassir. I know some of the answers, and but for the audience, we are going to pick your brains on starting a startup from scratch and scaling it. And I know you are moving ahead, and you are at the third level of your startup. So you started, scaled it, and now you're at the third level. So whatever you want to share towards the on to the third part of it, if you can, go ahead and do that. But we will start uh, with uh, with the with some of the very foundational information. Just share who you are and what did you do when you were like in your early life, studied, moved to UK and stuff. Quick snapshot of who Dr. Mudassir Ahmad is.
All right, all right. Thank you, Ahmad bhai, first of all, for having me for this opportunity. I must want to commend you are doing an amazing job in basically, making other people life better because what you do, I think, has a greater impact, and not in general in people's life, right? That means if you improve your career or LinkedIn profile, you get better job, you get into better business opportunity, and which will result into a better lifestyle, which in fact your family. And a lot of people don't see that, right? So, and I've been your mentee. I think rather than going back, I think we start when we first met about 10 years ago, right?
That is right.
In Karachi. I went there. I was doing a job, and I said to you, you know what? I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to. I like to think in my job. I think I was a. I finished my PhD. I'm an engineer from Karachi. I got a scholarship there. I'm a position holder. I went to Chalmers University of Technology on the full scholarship, so I was lucky. And then I did a PhD, which is funded by my company. So the first, I think, the thing for takeaway I want to give it to people, that people say you have to have a lot of money to educate yourself, and I think myself would be a good example that I went to a government college with zero fees, engineering with almost free, masters free, PhD free. I never had to spend any money to get myself educated. Right. So if anybody's saying I don't have money to educate myself, frankly speaking, they are not working hard enough to find that piece. Right. It's not easy, but it's very possible. I have done it. Right. So, and I can help you in finding the way as well. So that's first thing. And then when I did that, I was doing a corporate job. I was a high flyer, always getting outstanding whatever. But I just felt that my impact and my hard work is limited to the four walls of a plant of 400, 500 people. And I start doing blogging because I just think it's my way of giving back. And supply chain knowledge was pretty boring in a sense. They talk about the usual stuff, and I was pretty inspired with the digital marketing people like Neil Patel and few others who make it very funky and attractive about digital marketing. So that's what I started doing it. So when the blog got hit, and I realized I have this opportunity to impact and reach out not just 400 people in the plant, thousands of people through the web, right? And I saw this opportunity. I had no idea what I'm going to do with it, right? And but I thought I just want to do two things, basically give back to the society, benefit them, and basically make a name for myself in the process doing so. I think these words like personal branding and all that is just now in thing. I think when we started having a conversation, we didn't know about personal branding. Now,
That is right.
okay, so we had this conversation, and you give me few tips, and we again, one of my strength is as what's his name, the guy Charlie, who was a friend of Warren Buffett, just recently died. Charlie Munger. He said one of your life ethos is that basically is your moral responsibility to be a continuous learner, right? And I believe on that as well. This is my moral responsibility to continuous learn. So we started with the my name Mudassirism, start sharing blog, come to Dubai. I think we changed my name to SCMDOJO. So Dojo is a Japanese word which means place to stay. Still a blog, by the way. Then people start inviting me into conferences. If somebody paid me to fly into Estonia to talk about, they would give a master class. Then I went to Ukraine. Then I went to USA, and I thought, okay. And what was interesting is when I went to New York into a conference to speak, and somebody said, "What, Mudassir? Great to see you. I've seen your content, I've seen you LinkedIn, you got a lot of followers, I've seen the exactly fantastic work. And then she said, what do you actually do? And I'm thinking, you said such a good thing, and you don't actually know what I do, right? That doesn't make sense, right? So what I thought is it's my responsibility that being working full time, and I was not doing job as creating a business out of it. So cut long story short, COVID happened where the supply chain come into the forefront. I had the opportunity. People contact like Musk. People contacted me on LinkedIn. Again, you are a LinkedIn guru, and this is what I'm trying to tell people. Musk said we are moving from a shipping company to a logistics company. We need somebody to help, their people to convert into supply chain people. I said, okay, I can help you out. Then a startup contacting me from USA. Supply chain is issue. Can you help us, guide us, make our product better? So I was start making money and I start selling content on Gumroad. I made about $30,000 during COVID, along with my job in doing so. And I thought, if I can make $30,000 in 18 months, it's a flipping good money. Then this whole concept of a minimum viable product or minimum viable process. So I've defined my minimum viable process, or no, actually, minimum valuable process. So thing is, if you have a for example, we talked about, you are my mentor. I think I'm a mentor for you in that category. When we talk about you have such a knowledge, why don't you, your knowledge put into a content form and make it a digital product so you can sell it, right? And then you become a solopreneur. And the same thing, because I've shared my experience with you on that part. So the first takeaway I would say is following. If you have, it doesn't matter what job you do. For example, you're a quality manager, you are a HR person, you're a marketing person, you are into, I don't know, into industrial engineering. You're doing what your job for a long time. And I'm sure in your little world or little vertical, you have basically gathered some knowledge. Put that into a piece of paper, start sharing. This is how you build your authentic credibility. It doesn't matter, you don't have to be Gary V and motivational speaker. You don't have to be one of those. You have to start small. So these all ideas, starting small, making a real product, make a business out of that. And then I realized that when my company Bridgestone said, you're doing a great job, you've done a digitalization project, they sent me to Japan, they said go to Brussels. And I thought, no, I don't want to go to Brussels. I think I can do this as a business. And then SCMDOJO was born. And the final thought, what is SCMDOJO? SCMDOJO is essentially a marketplace, supply chain knowledge and expert marketplace. And this model is basically rinse and repeat. You can take that model, which I have created, apply it into marketing, into law industry, into finance, into sports. You can do whatever with it.
All right, so folks, I'm sure by now you know this guy is full of energy. And honestly speaking, that's one thing that I really admire about him. There are, of course, things that I don't admire about him as well. But but the thing, I really honestly, joke aside, I really admire his energy. You know, he is always full of enthusiasm. He is full of knowledge, and it's very, very difficult. I'm sure almost impossible to beat him in knowledge-based discussion, and I've seen it myself. So you did your engineering, then you went into supply chain, you did your PhD in supply chain. Now, Mudassir, I actually want a very quick answer on this one. A lot of people I know are talking about what's the point in having a degree? I mean, you could be who you are even after graduation, even just by doing your MS. You did your PhD, which is the most like a qualification nobody can do. You can only do two PhDs. You cannot do PhD square. Um, what do you think? I mean, is this a right notion of discouraging people to go to university and educate themselves? Uh, and some like a lot of people are saying that you just jump into like do something short and you will start minting money. What is your kind of thought on that?
First of all, I need to know what are the things you don't like about me. You never said it. You said it online. I don't
No,
appreciate that. You know,
you know what I don't like about you.
but nobody's perfect. You have to take good with the bad.
Which is good.
I'm
And but
human.
there are no
Let,
see,
let me
Mudasar,
let me
there are
let me
not many
substantiate.
people who actually tell you what is not too good about you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, you are the one of the few people. And actually, for the viewers, let me give you example of what Ahmad Bhai is talking about. I'll answer your question, by the way. So I believe I've grown up in a business model where you say, authentic leadership. One of the leadership thing is you have to have a vision. You have to be a leader, lead by example. You have to, be genuine with people. You have to mentor. You have to create more leaders. One of the leadership qualities which I learned is drive for results, right? And it is basically depends. Everybody have a different levels. I came from a hustle background, right? I know hustle has been seen as a negative thing, but given my background, when I was in, I think 15 years old, I passed my grade 10, and my dad said, "Mate, I don't have money. You can go and work on a shop, or you can work hard yourself and get educated." So when your father tell me, fair play to him to telling me that, right? At least he gave me an option, and I took a later option. So once I don't want to use the word self-made person is bullshit. But what I mean by that, if you work hard in your life, then anything in front of you, you think as a hindrance. And I have developed this bad habit. So I applied for a plant manager job, and they didn't give me, despite I was the highest performing person, and I thought it's my job. I was doing it for last 1 year part time anyway. The reason they said is you are not politically savvy and you're rough on the edges in a very British way. I was in UK, and I said, what the hell that means? Politically savvy, and I'm rough on the edges. I'm running the plant. I mean, it was a very bad, poorly performing plant, and I make it a model plant in 12 years, and then my leadership. I thought it's my job. They said, okay, because British people don't want to answer straight away. They said, oh, you have to prove your 360 leadership qualities, and they sent me to this Corin Fenry, I think, some assessment. So they paid a consultant £10,000 to basically mentor me. And the outcome was after the assessment, there was like 700 questions I have to answer. And one of the attribute was leadership drive for results. And I scored 9 out of 9 in drive for results. And I thought, that's great, man, 9 out of 9. But it was written in the analysis as a negative attribute, right? And I was, confused. Why, despite I'm 9 out of 9, anybody can score on drive for I'm the highest by. Why is a negative attribute? And the coach said, because it's an overused competency, right? So it's an example why Ahmad Bhai might be saying that, it's reference is a good thing, but it's overused. So you have to find a balance in all the good things you do.
Yeah. So again,
Interest.
then becomes that people who are not at speed with you, and it happens with me, as you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm much more milder than you are, but I also strive for results. That's why I grew in my life. I think anybody who doesn't like seek those results will never grow. So that's kind of an
No, yeah,
interesting
you're right.
thing.
No,
So,
yeah.
we'll say the
Coming
degree
back to your
part of
question.
it. And there are
Yeah.
questions coming in. So, folks, this is your opportunity. Next, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. Ask as many questions as you can. Usama Zafar has already asked a question. But I will first need to
Yeah, yeah.
learn
I will
from you
answer. I
about
will
the
answer.
degree. Yeah.
I will answer. So the thing is, uh, I think basic education is important, right? But when I'm talking about me, I'm into early 40s. When my age, if you want to get it was a very classical structure. You have to have a degree to get a good job, right? But that mindset has changed. But actually, let me tell you what degree does. Degree doesn't guarantee your job, doesn't guarantee your career. I don't want to name this guy. He's my best friend, actually. He was a gold medalist, position holder, 4 years, like a nerd to the max, right? He's not earning money as like all of us make more money than him. The problem was education doesn't get him the good money. Is as what's his name? How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie, he said 75% of your professional success is down to your how you communicate people and how to deal with people. 25% with your technical competency. So the point is, for me, education teach you two things: going to university, not the degree actually you're taking. I hardly find people. I did the textile engineering and I left after 1 year and never looked back. But the engineering knowledge, and I learned how to learn basically. When you go to university, they teach you how to learn. And that skill of learning, that how to learn anything is super important. Right now I'm learning AI and I start learning how to manipulate data because, for example, ChatGPT is LLM model is very good in managing text, but I am a data guy. I want to build data AI apps. Then ChatGPT cannot do. So I recently started learning very fast what we have to do to create analytical apps using AI. So I start learning vectorization. I will start learning graph, how to create a knowledge graphs, how to create all this. Anyway, I don't want to bore people. So the point is, and I talked to an IT guy, and he said, "How the hell you know this, right?" I mean, the point is, I know how to learn, right? I can know about a biotechnology which I don't know anything about right now in 6 months' time if I choose to learn. So university does one thing is teach you how to learn. Very, very important skill, right? Second thing it does, which is one of my strength, is my friends which I made in my university. They are one of my strongest network which I can always fall back on, right? The mates I made in NAD University in Karachi, the mates I made in Chalmers University, where I lived with the guys in the study, all of them are into very, very influential positions. All of them have done very well. In my classmate, I was a batch of 28, I think, in NAD, which was the first batch. Seven of us are PhD. It could have been eight if the other guy didn't screw up, right? Okay, so imagine you got seven PhDs to fall back on to seek knowledge, and one guy is a chairman in IBA, one person is a director of one of the biggest industry. They are all into very influential places. So that network is, for me, is invaluable, which will
Absolutely.
stay with your life, right? They become your friends, they become your partners, mentors, and all this. So this, if you don't go university, I don't know how you're gonna find that support network, because if you go to jump into working and jump into business. I mean, I worked about how many years? 17 years in industry. I hardly make two friends, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're in the business, you make acquaintances, you make good work colleagues, but you don't make friends, right? Yeah, friend you only make in uni and when you're young, right? So the point I'm making is following. So for me, that's the two things: how to learn, making good network, because you can do degree in whatever, and but you end up doing some different job, right? And you can be only good in doing some different job because if you know how to learn. I mean, that's my answer
Great.
of your
No,
question.
that is fantastic, and this is what I also believe is that a book, a textbook actually teaches you the principles, and those principles are well researched. And once you have understood those principles, you can actually apply those principles onto whatever you want to do in your life. And again, while you were talking, I was thinking of Miles' concept in Unfair Advantage. By the way, I've invited Ashley to speak to me on Monday, the author of Unfair Advantage and founder of UHubs UK. Uh, my first most wealthiest speaker in my session, by the way. So you can find that out actually. But I know you read a lot of books, so read that book called Unfair Advantage. It's going to really help you. So Mudassir, I have some questions, and some of the questions. I mean, in your conversation, you had already answered. For instance, Malia Rahman is an SEO content writer, and she asked, "I'm new to content writing field. What are some of the tips you suggest me as a content writer?" So, like a very brief thing, because you have been content writing for a very long time, and that was the starting point of your transformation as well.
I wish you could have asked me this question 1 year ago, before the birth of ChatGPT. I would have given you a different answer, right? But the with the ChatGPT and LLM, I think the future of content writing is pretty bleak. That's the honest answer, right?
Yeah,
Now, actually, content writing is not a skill anymore. I'm really sorry to break you to you, right? The skill here is actually learning what people are thinking in the category you are writing, so you can write a prompt or a question to get the information you want,
yeah,
right? So even yesterday, I saw on my mobile, I have access to Google Gemini, and actually, Gemini is even more powerful than
yeah,
ChatGPT because you can use pictures and images and all that,
yeah,
right? And so the world of content creation has been disrupted overnight. So anybody who was, I feel sorry, I feel worried, not sorry, I feel worried for the people who are living on content creation for other people, because I know you can say, oh, it's not humanized and people, no, it's rubbish, right? Google will rank a good article. Even LinkedIn collaborative article is actually, so you start from the AI and other people collaborate, and then it's now indexing. In fact, I see a lot
yeah.
of LinkedIn articles indexing, right? It's all AI generated. They're coming into top of the tree. So this is where the technology is going. So the real skill is not any more content writing, my friend. The real skill right now is to think, right, what people can search or will search, right, and then doing the prompt to get the right response out of AI. That's the skill. Okay, and how you develop that skill? Let me also tell you that. So, where you can find these searches and other than Google Trends or Google keywords, go to Quora. People ask questions there. So in your category, see what people are questions are asking. Then you create a prompt on this, you create start counting on this. So one of my biggest inspirations for is Reddit. People think it's a bullshit platform. I think it's very smart. People are crazy there. They are very aggressive, in fact, in very American, very aggressive. So again, I follow Reddit. I go to Pinterest. I actually I ask questions on LinkedIn. And when I ask questions, people ask me more questions. I do polls and people ask me questions. So you generate those ideas by by interacting with people, right? Because I put a blog of something and somebody says, "Oh, can you please tell me the 7 reports on procurement?" Great. That's great content idea. I only got idea because somebody asked me this question, right? So create those conversations which create questions which now you can generate content.
Awesome. Thank you. So again, I think content life. So content creation will have a different connotation altogether now. It is not going to be vanilla flavored plain stuff. It will be more exciting. I mean, I'm using a ChatGPT content training on my LinkedIn, as you probably have seen that. Not many people participate because people still are confused. So, and I'm trying to help them understand, okay, you can actually do that by using some interesting tips. We have Usama Zafar asking, in fact, yeah, what should we, what kind of homework one should do before thinking to start a startup? Now, it's a very broad question, I know, but
No, no,
again,
it's not actually. It's not a
yeah,
broad question.
go ahead.
I can answer this very precisely actually.
Yeah, go ahead. That's the
Right?
beauty. That's your skill. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can answer this precisely. Right? First of all, you need to figure out, right? The issue is people assume that we have to automate stuff data. You just assume a problem. Never assume a problem. Do not spend a money in coding, making a product, buying sample. Don't do that. First of all, whatever your idea of startup is, or even you do not have any ideas, ask questions and figure out where is the product challenge is. You have to small. Second thing, I would say is smart, very small. Actually, the smallest problem you can solve and if you can find, you solve that. The biggest issue is everybody wants to be a unicorn. Let's do thousands of people to help. Let's do hundreds of millions of dollars, blah, blah, because that's the whole entrepreneurial unicorn, right? Mm, That's why everybody fails. You have to find a very small problem, right? Verify that before coding. Once you know that, figure out what is the niche. Now, second thing, the famous MVP, minimum viable product. You make the quickest product, physical or digital or a software or whatever, and give it to people, not in months, in days, in fact. You should be able to do it in 2 weeks max. Give it to your friends or anybody who can use it, ask them to give you feedback. And if they say it is 40% good, it's useful, I can assure you, you are onto something,
So Sahil
right?
Lavangia, basically, uh,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
actually did it, right? So with Gumroad, right?
exactly. We exactly did with SCMDOJO, right?
Yeah,
I sold $30,000 of content, right, on Gumroad, which is Sai Lavanga, and I provided consultancy by sitting here to a US company, right? So I thought there's a demand for this supply chain gig based economy, right? Expert people
yeah.
want to hire for 2 hours, 3 hours, 10 hours of advising. I mean, actually, I just come back by coaching a guy which referred me through somebody, and now he's a senior executive. I'm teaching him, not the leadership part, I'm teaching him how to ask the right question to his team so he can get most of it. The point is, this is the USP I've decided, right? So once you do that, then you have to go and execute super fast, right? Don't leave job, don't leave the thing which brings you the money, and then find a so now you find your MVP. Now you actually find, okay, you got a problem you can solve. Again, don't leave job, work hard, evening, weekends, whatever. If you cannot find three customers who can pay you for your product or a service, or actually more than that, five, right? If you can find five people who can pay you for your product and service, right? That means you got a business. If you can't make money while you are in the job, I can assure you, you can't make money when you leave the job. I can almost guarantee you that.
That is so right. And again, starting small is the easiest thing to do. Often people try to be like, you know, pragmatic. Being pragmatic is fine, but you know, you don't really need to really fix the unicorn stuff. And Mudassir, thank you. You mentioned that I mentored you, but he mentors me a lot. So I actually get a lot of inspiration from him. And my first downloadable digital product was actually his suggestion. So he said, Amal bhai, can you please create something of this sort? I created it and I sold it. And that actually inspired me. And I actually created a brand new version of that product last year as well. And then I wrote books. So every digital product that I have and this whole online course, stream that I have. And by the way, the ideas strike when you talk to people, when you listen to them. And one of the ideas Mudase came up with is, Hamad, can you please do a LinkedIn course specific to supply chain professionals? And that made me think, you know, supply chain professionals, okay, there are tons of supply chain professionals. They have a problem. They don't know how to use LinkedIn. So if we could teach them how to use LinkedIn, they will be able to get jobs or consulting assignments, and that will be our branding. And it took me time, but the course is available on at SCMDOJO. Thanks to Mudassir. And after that, I actually created another course which is related to emerging technology. And I am now creating a course which is related to ACCA professionals. So that one idea actually got turned into many ideas just because we knew each other, we spoke to each other, we were not isolated. So that's very important. Now, another question that we have is from Rahil. And he said, what is the one point which you will be stick to get your goals accomplished? So what is one thing that you would really hold on or stick to so that you could achieve your goals?
The short answer is consistency.
Yeah.
That's a short answer. But let me elaborate on that. For me to stick to my goal, I have to be very clear on in my head on a vision, right? Actually, people ask inspirational figure, oh, who inspires you? Let me tell you who inspires me actually, not Ahmad Bhai or anybody else. Actually, the person who actually inspired me, and it's gonna surprise you, is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you will say, what bodybuilder got to do with it? Quick story. I was going after my tuition. I was like 16 or something. I bought a book from the Thele wala in Karachi for literally
Yeah.
2 rupees. Old book, 2 rupees. Here he talked about his workout, and then he talks about he wants to be a bodybuilder and actor. I'm talking about the book which is written in 1986, which is well before, I think, after Terminator and Terminator 2 and all these movies. So he knew he wants to be an actor, and then he knew he wants to be a politician or whatever. Recently on Netflix, there's a 3 episode, I think, documentary sort of thing of Arnold. Go and watch it. So, and I totally agree with this thought. So, for example, most people don't believe what I'm doing with SCMDOJO. It's almost like a business model saying, no chance you're going to do this. I mean, who's going to do the marketplace of supply chain, and you're going to survive, and you're going to have 6,000 users, and you're going to make money, and you're going to have
I think we lost Mudassir. I'm not sure why.
survive
Uh,
without any investment for 2 years. No,
right.
everybody's. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah, we
me?
can hear you now. Yes, go ahead.
Right.
I think we're losing you a little bit, Mudassir. So that's the
So I
internet
was clear
thing.
in my head, it's going to work out.
Sure.
Is my internet or yours? I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, that's okay. So you have to be very clear in
Anyway,
your head.
so you have to be clear in your head. And I think the what after that, I think I posted recently in one step at a time consistency. Because what actually happens is this happen with people wants to. I know you coaches people to do content creation, build brand, and all that, right? I can bet that 80% of your students won't survive after 6 months. The reason is they want quick results and they give out after 6 months because they don't see the results.
Yeah.
And this is where the make. So I will quote this with the Einstein quote, which is one of my favorite quotes. Says, somebody asked Einstein, "You're a genius." He said, "No, actually, I'm not the genius. I stick to the problem longer than normal people."
Yeah.
So my one advice is, if you believe on a problem or whatever you want to get results, just stick with it. Result will come.
And you're so right. See, when I started this whole journey as from an economist to an online coach, whatever you say, I say this is my business. I'm completing my fourth year in this business, and initial phase was very challenging. Now I'm at an ease, but I'm sticking to only one thing, and this one thing which I admire him a lot. So one thing that he said, you're spreading yourself too thin. That was like 3 years ago. 3 years ago, because I actually wanted to make money, and I just wanted to be whatever opportunity came in my way. I said, let's do that. He said, this is all rubbish, and these. So one thing that I think about it, he's very like firm and very straightforward. This is actually this helps. So he said, this is you're not going to get anywhere because you're spreading yourself too thin. You're getting into everything. So define your path and just stick to that path. And now you can see, I'm growing and a lot of following. This is
The
happening.
the misconception of being expert is, so I have one more video which I think does very well. Is 4 C's of credibility. To build a credibility, you have to do four things, 4 C's. You have to be consistent, you have to be competent, you have to be committed, and you have to have concern of people.
Yeah,
So to build credibility, i.e., become an expert, you have to do all those four things, right? But if you're trying to do too many things, you can't be credible, you can't be an expert.
yeah,
Right. So once you build your expertise in one thing and you get regarded as a thought leader or a figure, an expert, then it's easier to basically diverse your portfolio or your horizon. Right now, actually, I'm advising people on on leadership. I'm like a biggest networking person going in supply chain. People call me, "Oh, do you know this?" Because they know we're gonna find out somebody or something is, and 9 out of 10 times I don't fail people. Who knew I could do that? But I could only do that because I built my expertise on a very, very small niche of supply chain.
yeah. And he's a network. Like actually use the right word. He's a crazy networker. Mudassir was in Toronto last year during summer, and we wanted to organize a little meetup. And honestly speaking, you know, I don't know anyone in the supply chain industry in Canada. Well, not as friends. There are people connected over LinkedIn only. And we organized that event, and that room was packed. Like there were 40 plus people sitting in a room. They were there throughout the session, and it was an amazing session. And people came to meet him, like those who couldn't really attend, and like they were the influencers came to meet him. Couple of them said that they wanted to go, but they stuck in the room, and they were there. So that actually shows the authenticity of the person, and the way you present yourself, and the way you network and being appreciated by other people. We've got another question coming in. Rizwan is asking now. The first question, Rizwan, is something that I would say it's probably not the right question. The question is, nowadays, which type of startup is better to start? I think it's an invalid question. But the next question is interesting. Uh, Interesting because I know what Mudassir has to say. I already know that, but let's hear from Mudassir. A service-based startup or a product-based startup?
Okay. Service-based startup and a product-based startup. I think service-based startup, which is intangible, which is you're delivering your time, right, is essentially, unfortunately, is not a startup, right? Is a service delivery business, right? Which is directly proportional to your time and your expertise. People think it's a startup. Some people would argue with me they're a startup, but I don't think they are, right? Then you have to have a product-based startup, right? But product-based startup doesn't mean you have to make a tangible physical product. There's a concept we call it digital product. There's a concept we call a product as a service. So there's a concept you're trying to promote that. Sorry, no, there's a concept of service as a product,
Service or product, yeah.
right? So what is service as a product? So when you generally try to do service, that means I'm a consultant of some sort. I will come in and deliver the lecture. I get paid. You gone, right? And then it's hard. But okay, but if for example, if you want to judge the quality of any product, physical tangible product, so how you measure the judge the customer service quality? So it's four things you measure. If I have to have a phone or iPhone or whatever, it has to be a good quality, it has to be the right price, it has to be delivered at a certain lead time, it has to be there on time. So if you're delivering any services, let's call it Hamad as a coach, right? He says I can give you a 150 hours of LinkedIn coaching, that's a price, and I can give you in 2 days time, that's a lead time, and he can be there on time, and you will get basically a better profile from me. I will optimize your SEO and I will give you this. So he's giving the quality deliverables. And then he can show I've got 10 reviews from my previous clients who think I'm really awesome. So that's the quality part. And once you deliver that, that means you get one more review. So he packaged his service into a product. Now, what he could do is say, okay, if you don't have $150, you pay me $10 and I do rinse and repeat. You watch this video, right? And you will get the same thing, but you will don't go to my time. It's fine. It's a digital product, right? And he can deliver through Teachable or whatever Gumroad or whatever platform, right? So if you are just delivering your services and getting paid, it's not a startup. You're just doing a service work. But you find into a service as a product model, or if you do a tangible product, is even better. Then you have a startup. Then you can scale it because startup is all about scalability. If
Yeah.
you can't scale the business, while and let me tell you this, I think I can define it better. If you can't make money while you're sleeping, you don't have a startup.
Yeah. Wow. That's an interesting one. So we have a couple of more questions, and then I have some questions as well that I wanted to ask you about specific to your startup that you're doing and what stage you are at, and what took you like what were the pains that you went through this whole process, and this because this is what encourages me to keep working, to be very frank. So we have got a question from Tariq, said, what strategy you suggest to target the right audience? For example, I'm running an AI agency, um, and I'm trying to get clients and I'm struggling.
Sorry, ask me again. AI
So
agency,
he is
struggling
running
to
an
get.
AI agency of some sort,
Yeah,
and he is
yeah.
unable to get clients.
Okay.
So any suggestion for him?
Okay. How do people know they are any good?
Right.
How do people know that his AI agency is any good? Because you can go to Upwork, you can find 20 people, you can go to LinkedIn or wherever. So first of all, if you are struggling, how you are building your AI brand, right? How do people know that? If they
Yeah.
don't know that, they're never gonna hire you. Because right now, and as is again, Hamad Bhai is the coach of that, he knows more than me, is the concept of social proof. You can't, people don't hire even people for a job interview without Googling them and finding them on LinkedIn and Facebook. I will not hire anybody without Googling them or their services and all that. You have to have a social proof. You have to have evidence. You have to have a case studies. You have to have testimonials. You have to be writing blogs, creating videos. You have to test people that you do. I think the best person you can follow, his name is Eric. I actually recently published my YouTube videos with him. Is Eric Kimberling. Google him. He's a supply chain relation guy. He's got 100,000 YouTube followers. He's got TikTok 60,000 followers, Instagram 60,000 followers. The only thing he does, he literally gives all the knowledge you need to know for free. That's what I do. I give all the supply chain knowledge for free. But the thing is, why would people be hire me? The only reason people will hire me is they want they customized knowledge suitable to them, i.e., my service and knowledge and etc. But if I would have not done any of that, right, I wouldn't get any clients. So I think this question is build your expertise. Actually, again from one of the quotes from what's his name, Ted Turner, right? And I can write it down if people are writing. Early to bed, early to rise, work like hell, and advertise. Right. So if you are not advertising what you're working on, nobody will know.
And honestly speaking, Mudassir, Tariq says that he is, yes, I'm doing all that. Now, there is a challenge here is that most of us are trying to sell stuff, and we don't like salespersons, right? That's so we need to build that relationship. We need to build that trust, and of course, the social proof means that you exist in many platforms, but how much are you engaged with your client? What kind of value you're adding to people, so that people start appreciating you as a subject matter expert. Probably that's one of the things that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, but the freemium model works.
Yeah,
It's known business model. You have to give away your time, consulting, whatever product for free for people to try and give them a tester. And there's one more thing, there's a conversion effect. If you're trying to sell something, you need to know your conversion rate. I think this is one of my very recent learning. And I did get disappointed last year, especially in the first 6 months when the sales wasn't good. And I think, oh, people know me, they're not, still not buying, even though they know me, right? The issue I would say is everyone and every business and every vertical, they have different conversion rates. The good salespeople, they know they have to talk to 100 people to get two sales convert. So they're just gonna talk 100 people and they know two will convert. So what's your
yeah.
conversion rate? Are you talking to 100 people to know your conversion rate?
Hmm. That's correct. We have another question coming in from Santosh. He says he's currently working on a project Connect Wise. Here, where all the people are completely verified and connect each other via video call, because networking is important nowadays. Here in LinkedIn, network is made, but we have to old style mail system and waiting for email to speak. So this is not a question. Santosh, if you have a question, please ask. Uh, Another question which has just come up, just actually popped up right now from Jalil. He's asking, Assalamu alaikum, any suggestion for who wants to pursue career in a profession such as SCM, supply chain management? So a quick one from you on that.
So if you want to pursue a career in supply chain management, start with SCMDOJO. We got the world best, courses, guys, best practices. We give you the basic knowledge in probably the most cost-effective way you're gonna find it. You become the part of the community, engage with our LinkedIn pages, our social pages, our newsletter, WhatsApp group. We have a Telegram group. And once you make those connections, and we invite everybody who's members and interact, you can find somebody to offer you a job. But the thing is, you have to have a. So I have this pyramid called three pillars, right? 10 years ago, just having a supply chain competencies, technical competencies was enough. Then you have to have some soft skills, your people skills, presentation skills, communication skills, managing up and down, all that was important. But right now, the tech part is also important. You have to understand the tech part. Not just don't throw up buzzwords like AI, blockchain, cloud computing. You have to know where they actually use and how they used. So you have to have almost this pyramid, the triangle of competencies to be desired, right? But if you do not have the basic competencies of supply chain, you don't know how the MRP works, how the demand planning works, how the 7 stages of sourcing, you don't know how to improve the warehouse, you're probably not going to be, you're not going to have a good career because people are going to find out you don't manage the lingo basically.
Yeah, so you can't fake for long. I mean, you should not really. So, Mudassir, let's come to SCM Dojo again.
Yeah.
Now, you started it as a passion project, and you actually, one of the best thing is that you actually wanted to make money off it, which is, of course, an amazing objective to have, because then you can lay down your milestones, and like based on that, you can evaluate your KPIs whether you're reaching to that point or not. What were some of the most interesting things that you learned? Like something that you didn't really thought of, didn't really figure out, but you actually learned it. You're like, a process or something, relationship, anything.
I think I learned a lot of things. It's hard to summarize into few points, honestly, but let me tell you the few top of my mind. Um Entrepreneurship and startup is not for faint-hearted. If you are not will if you're just leaving your job because your boss makes you work hard and you doing 12 hours a day, and you think the startup gonna make your life easier, how sustain the job? Because that's easier. Startup is hard work, especially when you start lean and bootstrapping, and you don't have a rich father giving you $200,000 to burn on, and you have to ask for people money, you have to have customers for money, you still have to pay your bills, you got kids, family, wife, mother, whatever. It stresses you out if you're not a hardcore person, the strong minded, right? So that's the reality. So I think it's not for faint-hearted. You have to work bloody hard, right? You have to be almost believe that you can make it work. It's almost insanity involved in that. But if you do your homework before you start, that means you have a product market fit, you've done the testing, you have sold it to 5 people, you know now you're gonna scale, right? And this whole thing of product market fit is the magical word, product market fit. If you ask me, that is the most difficult thing you could do. Everybody believes that our product, our service is the best in the world. That's just by default. This is where you actually start, right? But the thing is, what market you're serving, and are people willing to pay you, right? Because the most difficult thing in this life as a professional is getting money out of people legally, of course, right? So how are you gonna get a money out of people? How what value you gonna provide that they will give you your hard earned cash, or company will give you hard earned cash? How are you gonna show value, right? It's not about cheapest or quickest or fastest. It's all about value you're gonna give as overall, right? So learning about value, and the problem with learning about these three things are how to give value, how to get money out of people, right? You don't learn while you're doing the job, because even the sales guy who thinks I'm selling stuff, if you ask me, they don't know how to get the money out of people, because the business they're working on already established, already have established clients, they already have invoice set up, they already have credit terms, they only have the process of selling set up. So you're just going there and facilitating that and growing that, right? You're not setting it up. It's not you're not doing a greenfield project. So when you do a startup, you have to do all of those things by your end. And once somebody send you ask you, okay, I'm willing to talk to you, I'm willing to give you my data so I can work with your startup, send me an NDA. I'm like, oh, what is NDA? Small thing, NDA, right? But the thing, you do the NDA, you go to Google, you go to ChatGPT for an NDA, but they can say, nah, it doesn't fit to us, mate. Make it better. And so that you will learn about sales cycle. So the time between you talk to somebody, show them a demo, then you give them a free trial, then you actually give them a first, let's call it paid version, then you have to chase the payment. You will never learn any of that in a job. And what the irony I find is, most of those startup schools and the VCs and the whole Y Combinator and all that, they don't tell those realities. They sell you this whole dream of, come in, we give you $150,000, we're gonna give you the mentors, and boom, here you go. The reason in my view they fail is nobody tells them the little difficulties you face in selling a product. The last thing I would say is following. If you are not a good salesperson, or if as a founding team, you don't have a one good salesperson, do not do it. Because startup is 90% selling.
Absolutely.
It's 90% selling, right? Because you as a startup founder, and you one of the founders, one should be good in product. If you're good, if you're not good, one should be good in actually selling at least two people on the tech side, right? Because one thing I also learned, you can outsource legal, you can outsource HR, you can even outsource operations, you can outsource development, you can outsource uh, I think even anything else. Almost you can outsource everything. The one function you cannot outsource is sales. You can go to Upwork and Fiverr. You will find people who can do lead generation. Very interesting, right? Service of lead generation. Give me $80 and I'll generate you 50 leads, qualified leads. Great. Okay, but then what is it? They give you a name and name and email and the title and the living profile. Great. What are you going to do with this? Somebody has to contact that person and give a value proposition, get them on the call to sell your product service. Who's going to do that? It's only you going to do that. And that is the hardest part.
And of course, when you if you want to do that, you have to be a good communicator. You need to really understand your product inside out. And of course, you need to think from your client's perspective as well. I was actually watching Gary Vee, so someone he also follows a lot, and he said, in today's time, if you don't follow your customer, you're not going to make any sales. So follow your customer. This is you. Like, your customer is not going to follow you. Follow your customer, and like these small things are very, very important for us to understand. And this understanding comes when we kind of expand our horizon. We try to learn few things. So if you're in a business, you need to really understand how you will be able to sell things. And most of the startups actually fail because they're unable to sell. It's not about the
Yeah,
product itself.
I would expand slightly recently because I'm a software
Yeah,
startup, right?
yeah,
I'm not a product startup. I'm a software startup. In the software, and this is a dilemma with one of the techie people, the who can build great softwares and products. They think people just use it because I just made a great software. The answer is no. Onboarding is half the software. I built the best AI model of blah blah blah. Okay, great. Who's gonna onboard it? Who? Customer won't care. You have to design the onboarding process, which has to be seamless, frictionless, resistanceless. Hard job. Hard
yeah.
job.
Awesome. So, how long did it take you to reach to a point where you thought, okay, now I think I have kind of sealed all the leakages in the system, which means that the product is now uh, great, and people are actually quite happy with the product or the service that you provide. And now is the time for me to move on and actually start looking for investors.
Yeah. So product is never perfect, right? Even today, I had a call with the customer in Finland. The things which was working yesterday very well didn't work with him today. Why? We had this cache issue or whatever, right? Things goes bad. Even you fix it, it goes bad. I mean, I was having a tough discussion with my team. I'll continue tomorrow. They get annoyed by customer complaint about the same thing, and I'm telling them why they're complaining about the same thing. We have to think about it. It's not customer is not stupid. If they're complaining about the same thing, we must be not doing something right, right?
Mhm.
Okay. If a customers care enough to give you a feedback, then first of all you're doing something right. But on the other hand, you're not doing something right enough they're happy about. Now, to answer your question, as long as your graph of sales is going up and the number of users is going up, right? And you're getting more traction because the traction is also important, right? Which is the most of the investors see what traction you have, how many users you have. Uh, the other thing is when people launch, they get initially good traction, sign up, freemium plan, and all that, and then the buzz dies. I mean, remember this recent startup which was stolen the idea of Twitter. You can go and talk on the
Thread.
audio. What was this? Huh?
No, no.
Not thread, before thread.
Uh,
Before thread.
Clubhouse. Clubhouse.
Huh? Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
Yeah. Clubhouse was a viral stuff. Even you said to me,
Yeah.
join Clubhouse.
Yeah.
I didn't join it. I knew it's not going to work. The idea was stupid, actually. But the thing is, they have done a good job, right? In creating that buzz, they have millions of users literally in the first few weeks and months of launch. Where's Clubhouse now? Does anybody talk about Clubhouse anymore? No, right? Why? Because it's not that they didn't have a good product or they did not show the traction. They didn't. But the second thing after traction you have to do, you have to show engaged users, i.e., how many times are people using it in a week and month. And the best thing I can tell you this is this. Somebody asked Sergey Brin, who is the founder of Google, of course. He said, "How can you determine if the idea is a billion-dollar idea?" He said, "Very simple. If you make something which people use every day, you are sitting on a billion-dollar startup.
Yeah.
That's it." So
Awesome.
my challenge, let me tell you my challenge in my business. The product I have is at least, I mean, even though I really push, I can show monthly engagement. I can't even show people weekly engagement, right? So for that reason, I also know already by sitting here, it's not going to be $100 million valuation. Cannot be. Even though I can show them a sales, very good sales, it will be maybe in millions of some sort, maybe in tens of millions. but it will not be 100 million because my startup don't have a frequency. It's a once a month, maybe once a week, 2 hours a week kind of startup, right? You can learn and you can do courses, you can hire experts. It's not something like SAP we used every day.
Yeah,
It's not like that. It's not WhatsApp which we will use every hour, which worth $50 billion. So
yeah.
so that's the challenge for us.
Hmm. So, and just to kind of, I know we are very getting close to our 1 hour allocated time. One of the largest education technology company in India reached out to me a couple of years ago, and they wanted to kind of work with me to promote their product. So their product is people sign up and they upload their courses. So when we started working, people signed up, but they did not have a course. They still paid for signing up. So I told them, okay, your challenge is, okay, you're a big company, you have tons of money. Your challenge is you are actually only encouraging people to sign up. You're not teaching them how to create courses. If they don't create courses, there is no ownership. They would probably, because they've signed up for $150, they will stick to you for a year and they won't renew the sign up. Now, tomorrow they are going to talk to me again after almost 2 years. So I am sure that the conversation is going to. So what I did actually in between, Mudassir, I created a complete course on how to create courses. It's not that this course is not available, but this is Ammar Siddiqui talking about it. And I actually did it from scratch. So I actually talked about everything that you have to have when you're creating courses. So you learn and you grow and you evaluate things and you keep improving. Now, what stage are we at in your startup?
So where we are right now is we are at about to get fund. We have signed a principal agreement, right, from a German consulting group. And see, this is how you have to stick with your idea. So I tell you the quick kick. I cannot tell you the whole details and the names because legally we
Yeah.
have not signed, and we are hoping that we have seen the paperwork from lawyers, and it didn't look good because the UAE laws are different than German laws. So they have to do some rectification, and we are hoping that next week we're gonna sign that. So what is important is how the things will happen. So I was, yeah. So I have a product market fit. We have 6,000, nearly 7,000 members. We have, we got good traction. Last year we have about 22 million content views. We have 28,000 email newsletter subscribers. Our YouTube channel is the second biggest YouTube channel with 36,000 followers. We have one of the biggest community going. I think fourth biggest community in supply chain. In terms of people, we have a brand name. People know us, right? So all good. Now we have a product market fit. We can show them a graph of sales going up. Maybe sales is not as good as our investor would want because they want hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we have good traction in last 12 months. We can show all that. Now we can also show if we get more money and investment, we can grow further because now our limitation is not the product market fit. Our limitation is the scalability, which is a multiplier of the marketing and the more coders, more marketing and salespeople, which is the natural progression of a startup. So somebody contacted me on LinkedIn saying, "Oh, what I want to do is to create a online academy and I want to create a marketplace and blah blah." I said, "Why you want to reinvent the wheel? Why don't we meet? Let's jump on the call." He said, "Oh, you in Dubai? I'm in Thailand. I'm in Dubai next week. Let's meet." I said, "Okay, let's meet." I went to his office and he was literally saying this, I want to hire experts. I want to create online courses in supply chain. I want to create 100 courses in supply chain. And people, because he already sold his consulting to a bigger group. So he is a millionaire, and he invests in startups, invests in property. And I want to do some expert who can do intervention for 2 days or half a day training. I want to manage vertically. So literally, I opened my phone, and as he was speaking, I was clicking and showing, literally demonstrating his thought process, and it was quite surreal actually that moment. And he was literally, I said, "There's two options here." After showing, either you come and invest, and so he didn't let me finish. And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." He didn't let me finish the second option, right? And so you have to find the right-minded investors, not with somebody with money. Because I can go and raise money with other people. Of course, I could have done that. But the reason I'm doing that is the reason because they are a German consortium, big in Europe. We are a very Pakistani company, as you know. We need to grow globally. We need to have a German or European base to leverage the funding from Europe because Europe is investing money, $8.8 billion to train people, which could be good revenue for us. First reason. Second thing, we are very big in supply chain, and very big in procurement. It would be good. Second thing, the third thing, they're already coming with a big team. They already have a successful setup, blah, blah, blah. So we can leverage their existing network to grow faster. So it's just not about money, right? So given all those synergies, and they are very nice. Again, the most you have to have a people compatibility. You can't work with, pardon my language, assholes, right? So we have this people who has a good compatibility, good professionals, experienced professionals, successful professionals. So we agreed now to give them a significant majority of our business against an investment of $900,000. But legally, nothing is signed, so I can't tell you the name and everything.
Yeah, and again, you got that connection or lead. I would call it a lead through LinkedIn, and
Yeah,
that's
because yeah,
that's where people
yes,
know you, right? And this
yes,
is so, as a coach, okay, I need to do a bit of salesmanship here. But the point
bragging,
is,
bragging.
yeah, the point is that you are there, you have a profile, and you are inactive. Mudassir is hyperactive. He's got more than 90,000 followers. He's got a newsletter which has got how many? 70,000,
58,000.
58,000 subscribers. So if he writes something, 58,000 people get that in their email. I've got about 41,000. So when I write something in a newsletter, 41,000 people get that message in their emails.
I want to make a point here. I started after you, even though you
That
pushed
is,
me one night, right? And you had 24,000 at that point. Yeah. How was it?
yeah. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. He is hyperactive. And the beauty is that he's actually targeting a very specific niche, which is supply chain, and growing in that niche and becoming what he has become now, mashallah, is very heartwarming, Mudassir. Thank you very much. I mean, I know audience could feel the energy. I always feel that energy whenever I speak to him. So with that, we are already over 4 minutes. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in today's session. I'm sure you had learned something. Follow Mudassir, follow his newsletter, and follow his content. A lot of content that comes out, and it's full of learning. So with that, thank you very much for joining in today's session. I will,
No, thank you
yeah,
very much, Ahmad bhai. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your mentorship. And thank you for believing, because it's very few people you find in your life who believe in your dream. And you are definitely one of them. And I always thankful for you.
thank you very much. Folks, thank you very much for joining in again. So on Monday, we have Ash Ali joining in. Ash Ali is the co-author of Unfair Advantage and an investor who has a startup called UHubs UK. So I'm sure you will love to hear from him as well. Bye for now.
Done.